All right, folks. Welcome to our. We're going to talk to the Rhode Island football coach, the defending two-time CAA football champs, Rhode Island Rams head coach Jim Fleming, getting ready to take on Central Connecticut this Saturday at home. So, Coach, thank you so much for joining us on the phone this evening. Congratulations, winning the conference again, 8-0. You went undefeated. You're perfect at home. So, what's been clicking at home this year?
Well, it's kind of been a recipe for us. I think we're at like 14 straight at home or something like that. I know that, we really developed a first-class environment to come play. We got people in the stands that are really actively involved, and it's been a 12th man advantage for us. So, being home is certainly something we appreciate, and we earned that right, by getting into the playoffs with the record we had. But we got a really tough opponent coming into town, and see if we can keep that streak going.
Yeah, you playing Central Connecticut, who you played last year at this time. It seems like it's a flashback to last year almost. Are they different to this year than last year?
Yeah, I think they've improved. I mean, I think they've got some returning players that we had to face last year, and that was a very close football game that was decided pretty late in the game. And, their quarterback's playing at a very high level. A kid named Brady Olson, he's getting rid of the ball real quickly. They've got a dynamic backfield with a couple of guys there. Offensive line solid, and then defensively they swarm around and make plays. So they're extremely well coached, very deserving. When you get into playoffs, everybody's going to be good. So this is no different than anybody else we play. We've got our hands full for sure.
Well, I need to ask you, how cold was that to get that bath on Saturday? Because it must be pretty cold there last Saturday.
We've been lucky with the weather, man. We had to go up to Maine, and it was pretty mild for a Maine day, and then we had this one at home, and it really wasn't too bad. But anytime you got a chance to close out a season with a W and people want to throw water on you, I'd do that every time.
that works. Well, Adam, you have a question for him?
Yeah. So, also congrats on being the two-time defending CAA champ. So, what does that mean for you and your team, knowing that to everyone in the CAA would try to come after you, and they failed. So, what does it mean, to be CAA champs again?
Well, I think you hit the nail on the head. I mean, we started off as preseason favorites, and you knew you were going to get people's best shot. And, fortunately, we were able to, produce at a level high enough to be able to take on all comers and do pretty well. We had, two blips in the screen with Western Michigan.
The 2024 football.
Best, but the one that really stung was our Brown loss, which, I think when in retrospect, we'll look back, and that was kind of a wake-up call for our football team. Since then, we've been getting better and better each week, and since we've gotten into November, I think we're playing our best football.
Yeah. Adam, you have another question?
Yeah, so, the CAA got three teams in the FCS playoffs, and the team that everyone thought would get there was Monmouth, and they got left out. So just talk about the overall strength of the CAA this year.
Look, I think the overall strength of CAA has been remarkably underrated. As I was preparing for our last game and, possible playoff selection, I was looking at the top 25, and I looked at the Missouri Valley Conference, who had 6 representatives in the top 25. And the second most teams that are represented in the top 25 was the CAA, which was, us, Villanova, Monmouth, and New Hampshire. And I think really what ended up happening is the Ivy League probably stole Monmouth's spot when Yale beat Harvard, which, is a little bit disappointing, knowing that, the Ivies played 10 games, the rest of us played 12. And, I thought the Monmouth was certainly deserving of getting in there. But, there's a lot of factors that go into that selection show that happens out in Indianapolis. None of us can really, control anything that goes on up there other than trying to play our best. And, I just, I feel just bad for Kevin and the boys down there. But We've got our work cut out for us here. So it's a tough one for the CAA, but we'll move on and we'll try to represent the conference best we can in the national stage.
Mm-hmm. Well, Jim, I got to ask you a question explain to folks about the playoff system in this subdivision, because a lot of people see it in the with the college football playoff. They're wondering about why you have all these other things, but in this bracket in the playoffs, do they have point value? Like if you beat somebody who is in the top 10 or something, how does that work to get you into the postseason?
Yeah, you're asking the wrong guy. I mean, I'm still scratching my head a little bit. I mean, we were certainly hopeful and thought we had earned the opportunity to have a first round bye. But, whoever makes those brackets and those seedings had different thoughts. Like I said, I thought when you're looking at the Mountain Missouri Valley, I understood that they're going to have a number out there. I thought the CAA certainly would have a little bit more respect and at least get a first round bye, which we haven't had in the last 2 years. I think that there's a misunderstanding around the nation about the strength of our football that we're playing in this conference. And, it was extremely disappointing. But, I think people, I don't know the matrices. I mean, they've got these things called matrices that take into a number of different statistical information. And I think that there's components in there that are involved in, regional travel. I think that there's probably TV is involved to some extent. So there's a number of different factors, but at the end of the day, there's a group of people that are tasked with the need to select a field, and that's how they saw it. And whether you agree with it or disagree with it really doesn't matter. So for us, we're just happy to be in, and we're happy to be continued to play, an opportunity to play this weekend at home, and then go one at a time and see if we can make a run of this thing.
Right. And this is actually your last home game, because I know you told me during the summertime, your stadium's getting remodeled, right? So you have to leave for a year or so, right?
Yeah, that was a very exciting time for Rhode Island football. They're going to be tearing down the stands and replacing the east stands and renovating our stadium a little bit, but not so certain to be the last home game. I think if we could create a great script right now, we would have an opportunity to compete and play and win versus Central Connecticut. We'll have to go out to California and play Cal Davis if we're fortunate enough to get by Central. And then, depending upon the outcome of the North Dakota State game, if North Dakota State gets beat somehow, some way, then it's possible we could come home for that quarterfinal round. But there's a lot of football to be played between now and then, so we'll see how it all turns out.
Exactly. Well, Adam, you have the last question.
Yeah, so ever since the loss to your arch rivals from Providence, the Brown Bears, you guys have been on a real long winning streak. What have been some keys, to this long winning streak as you guys get ready to face Central Connecticut State out of the Northeast Conference on Saturday?
Well, I think we've been continually to improve each and every week. I think that we're playing defense at a very high level. I think when you look statistically at both sides of the ball, we've been in the top part of the league in terms of statistically in both offense, defense, and certain special teams. So I really do believe that it's really that when we got a little wake up call with Brown, I think our kids recentered themselves and understood that anybody can beat anybody on any given Saturday, and they've been preparing extremely well and playing extremely well. We obviously have some very talented players on both sides of the ball. They've been carrying the load, and we've got a very good spirit with the football team. So it's all about, kind of short focus, getting through day by day, trying to make sure we're prepared going into each game and then play at a very high level. And that seems to have been working for us lately, and I think we've got a strong belief. But we're certainly going to be tested this weekend versus Central Connecticut. They're a good football team that has the same kind of structure and belief. So I'm just looking forward to a good game, and hopefully we can come out on top and then continue this journey with this group of guys who have been absolutely special group. It's the 130th team that has ever represented the university on the football field, and they've been a great group to coach, and I'd like to continue to coach them.
Nice. That's cool, Coach. Well, good luck on Saturday. We'll be rooting from our neck of the woods here in Maryland and North Carolina, and hope to talk to you if you get to the second round. We'd love to get you back on.
All right, guys. Love to do it, man. I appreciate your support of CA football and wish you the best of luck, and hopefully we're speaking again next week.
All right, cool. And happy Thanksgiving to you.
Happy Thanksgiving, Coach.
Yeah, right on. I keep on forgetting that there is a holiday coming up, but thankful to be on the phone with you guys and thankful for an opportunity to play football this weekend.
All right, Coach. Thank you so much.
All right, pal.
All right, see you.
Some people have a deep, abiding respect for the natural beauty that was once this country. And some people don't. People start pollution. People can stop it. Write for Pollution Booklet, Box 1771, Radio City Station, New York.
When you drive to Wendy's and order a single, you get more beef than the Whopper or the Big Mac. At Wendy's, you never have to ask